A family lost their entire life savings in a matter of seconds, not because they were reckless, not because they were uninformed. They lost it because they answered a phone call that looked completely legitimate and made one small mistake that the bank used to deny their fraud claim entirely. They will never get that money back. That story is the starting point for everything covered in this video, and by the end of it, there's a specific piece of information that could be the difference between protecting everything you've worked for and losing it in a single phone call. Stay with this. But first, there's something worth understanding about why this matters more now than it ever has before. There's a reason seniors are the fastest growing target group for financial scams, and it's not the reason most people assume. It has nothing to do with intelligence or awareness. It has everything to do with something that changes quietly as people age, and most people never see it coming. That piece of the picture comes later in this video. Here's what happened to the family. They had just left on vacation. Their money was held at a major brokerage. While traveling, a call came in from what appeared on their caller ID to be that brokerage. They let it go to voicemail. It called again, voicemail again. The third time they answered. The voice on the other end was calm and professional. The caller explained there was a fraud alert on the account. Someone appeared to be attempting to wire money out. If the family didn't respond immediately, the wire would go through and the funds would be gone. The amount in question was $1,000. The family asked what they needed to do. The caller guided them through a verification process. A 6-digit code was sent to their phone. They read the code back to the caller. And that was it. That was the moment everything was lost. Here's what was actually happening. The code sent to their phone wasn't from the brokerage. It was from the scammers themselves who had already navigated to the account login page and triggered a 2-factor authentication request. The code the family received and read aloud was the key that opened the door. Within seconds, the login was complete, the wire transfer was initiated, and the funds were gone. And here is the detail that made it irreversible. On the text message containing the 6-digit code, in plain language, were the words, "Do not share this code with anyone, even if they claim to be from the bank." The family saw those words, but the urgency of the situation, the sense that they were protecting their money, not surrendering it, overrode everything. The brokerage reviewed the case and denied the fraud claim. Because technically, voluntarily, the family had provided the authorization. They were not reimbursed. That money is gone. Now here is the thing that every person watching this needs to understand about that moment. The sense of urgency was manufactured. It was engineered deliberately, creating pressure, creating panic, creating the feeling that there is no time to think. That is the mechanism. That is how every version of this scam works, regardless of which institution is being impersonated. The moment a phone call, a text, or an email creates a feeling of immediate emergency around money or account security, that feeling itself is the warning sign. It is not a reason to act. It is a reason to stop. So what should the family have done differently? A few things, and these apply to everyone. The first is simply this. Not answering a call is always an option. Letting something go to voicemail costs nothing. If there is a genuine emergency with a financial account, there will be a message. There will be documentation. There will be a way to follow up at a time and pace of choosing. The second is one of the most important habits anyone can build around financial security. If a call comes in claiming to be from a bank, a brokerage, or any financial institution, do not call back the number the caller provides. Do not press a callback option. Hang up and call a number that is independently verified. The number on the back of a debit card. The number on a paper bank statement. The number found directly on the institution's official website by navigating there manually. Call that number and ask whether the call was legitimate. 9 times out of 10, and more, it was not. The third is the most direct. When a verification code arrives by text or email, and that message says, "Do not share this code with anyone," believe it. That instruction is there because the exact scenario being described in this video is known, documented, and common. The code is not a formality. Reading it aloud to anyone, for any reason, is the act that completes the theft. Now, the reason seniors are disproportionately targeted. It was mentioned earlier that it has nothing to do with intelligence. That's worth coming back to now. 2 things converge as people get older. The first is that account balances tend to be higher. Decades of saving, of compounding, of working. The money that's accumulated by the time someone reaches their 60s or 70s is often the most they've ever had at one time. That makes the potential payoff larger. The second is neurological. Research is clear that certain cognitive processes, specifically the ability to detect deception and override emotional responses under pressure, do change with age. This is not a character flaw. It is not a failure of intelligence or experience. It is biology. But it means that the mechanisms scammers rely on, urgency, authority, fear, land differently as people get older. The population most likely to have saved the most is also the population most neurologically vulnerable to exactly the tactics being used against them. Scammers know this. They count on it. This is also why the embarrassment that often follows a scam is one of the cruelest parts of it. Victims frequently don't report what happened. They feel ashamed. They feel foolish. They stay quiet. And staying quiet is exactly what scammers count on. It protects them. It prevents other potential victims from being warned. And it allows the exact same script to be used on the next person. If you're finding this useful and want to see more content on protecting your financial security in retirement, take a moment right now to hit the like button and subscribe. It helps this reach the people who need it, and there's a great deal more on this topic coming. A former director of both the CIA and the FBI fell victim to a financial scam. He made the story public deliberately, not out of shame, but because he understood that silence serves the scammer. If someone who spent their career at the highest levels of security intelligence in the country can be targeted and deceived, then the vulnerability is not about knowledge or intelligence. It is about the sophistication of the methods being used against ordinary people. The crimes themselves are extremely difficult to prosecute. Wire transfers move fast. The moment funds leave one account, they are often immediately transferred again, cleared out before any reversal can be initiated. Many of the operations running these scams are overseas, in countries that have no legal agreements with the United States to cooperate on prosecutions. The individuals making the calls are sometimes themselves victims of trafficking, of coercion, operating under circumstances most people in the U.S. would find unimaginable. There is no simple fix on the enforcement side. The only reliable protection is individual awareness. Digital banking has made life genuinely easier in many ways. Deposits, transfers, account monitoring, all of it available without leaving home. But that convenience comes with a corresponding responsibility to treat account credentials and verification codes with the same seriousness as a physical key to a safe. No legitimate institution will ever call and ask for a verification code. No legitimate caller will ever need the numbers in a text message. The code is the lock. Anyone asking for it is not there to help. The same principle extends to emails and text messages that create urgency around an account. A link in an email asking for login credentials. A text message claiming a card has been frozen and providing a number to call. A pop-up warning that appears on a computer screen displaying a phone number to call for immediate help. All of these follow the same pattern. They create alarm. They provide a next step. And that next step always leads back to the same place, someone who is not who they say they are, asking for something that should never be given. If a scam does happen, report it. The FBI maintains an online crime reporting division. The report may not recover the money, but it contributes to a data picture that helps identify patterns, warn others, and in some cases build cases that lead to enforcement action. The shame of being scammed should belong entirely to the people running the operation, not to the person they targeted. The three things worth remembering from this: urgency is the weapon. Slow down, always. Hang up and call back on a number you found yourself. And never, under any circumstances, share a verification code with anyone who calls you. There is one more thing. The scammers who run these operations are not amateurs. They study the institutions they impersonate. They rehearse their scripts. They know how people respond to authority and urgency. They know which words create compliance and which ones create doubt, and they avoid the ones that create doubt. The calls are often indistinguishable from a genuine customer service interaction right up until the moment the damage is done. That is not a reason to feel worse about being targeted. It is a reason to understand that the defense cannot rely on recognizing something that has been specifically engineered not to be recognizable. The defense has to come earlier, in the habit of slowing down, hanging up, and calling back on a verified number, regardless of how legitimate the original call seemed. The money took a lifetime to build. It deserves that much protection.